On this episode of Internet Business Mastery, we discuss the 5 ways to triple your business results fast. And in the quick tip, we talk about how the best get better.
Welcome to InternetBusinessMastery.com, where you will learn to take control, make more money, and start an internet business today. Here are your hosts, Sterling and Jay.
Hey everyone, I'm Sterling.
And I'm Jay.
And thanks for joining us as we discuss the strategies for starting and growing a successful internet business. We'd like to invite you to sign up for our email newsletter to get the most up-to-date internet business tips by going to freeaudiogift.com. So Jay, what's been going on in your little internet business world?
Well, let's see. I'm recording this on my new computer.
Nice.
I remember on the blog recently I was asking everybody for advice on the whole monitor setup after hearing you rave so long about the dual monitor thing. I finally made the leap to dual monitor.
Triple monitors.
Not doing triple quite yet. I'm having a hard enough time just looking at these 2, but
wow.
Maybe eventually I'd go for 3. We'll see. Baby steps, baby steps.
Yeah, from going from your little laptop screen to 2 nice, big, crystal clear monitors must be a pleasure and also something to kind of switch your mind around.
Yeah, I'm getting used to it. I mean, working on a laptop, I got really fast at switching around between windows and hotkeys and different things. But I'm starting to notice, I mean, the biggest thing in my mind is I was thinking, well, for video editing, for sure, a second monitor will be really handy. But, bit by bit, I'm starting to find other ways to use the whole dual monitor thing. So I am digging it. It's pretty cool. And then, of course, just having, I finally made the transition from laptop to a more desktop tower. Again, mostly for the video editing thing. I'm giving up that portability for power, I guess, now. But I'm definitely digging this new computer. Thank you to all those who gave some advice on the blog as to what kind of monitor to set up to go with. I ended up going, I was wondering about different brands and how big is too big. And after asking people on the blog and doing some research, it seemed like for a multi-monitor setup, a lot of people said around 23, 24 inches, anything bigger, and it gets hard to have multiple monitors. So I went with 2 23 SyncMaster matte finish Samsung monitors, and I'm pretty happy with them.
Yeah, I was no help. I said as many and as big as possible, so I'm just no help there. Although I also have the SyncMasters, and I'm thinking of going to 4. So
4 monitors.
Once you get used to it, the real estate. 1 monitor's just for Skype alone. 1 monitor's for MindJet. And then I got 1 monitor I work from. So I'm like, there's just not enough space for the social media stuff again. I need another one. I wonder if that'll happen to you. I mean, you've been working on a laptop for so long. I can't even stand being on my laptop for the 3 days that I come visit you to do, any of our prep and stuff.
Right. So I mean, here's one thing I'm wondering. Do you find having all those with different monitors and having things up all the time, does that affect focus at all? I mean, I guess I'm wondering if there's trade-offs between focus and productivity with multiple monitors, or how has that worked for you?
Well, the only thing, I mean, most of the time I'm operating from MindJet and just a browser, so I need those 2 up while I'm working for the most part. If Skype is pulling away from my focus, I'll just turn it off.
Right.
But most of the time, I have it up, and the only people that I talk to, I either need information from, or we're trading information, or I need to contact you so we can go play a video game now that you have a real system to play it on. So, one way or another, I just, it's up to me as to keeping myself focused. It doesn't pull it away. In fact, it just makes it so I'm not constantly switching between things and that kind of stuff.
Gotcha. Well, I'm excited to see how this develops with my productivity.
Well, it only took 6 years, so there you go. It took me 6 years to get you to it. So.
If anybody's listening and they have other multi-monitor tips that they'd like to share, then we'd love to have those in the comments for this episode.
And now, the features segment.
All right, so let's talk about how to triple your business results fast. triple it, not quadruple, not double. We want to exactly triple your results and your success in this episode.
We're real specific this time.
Very, very specific about this. Well, in essence, what we want to do is we want to talk about, we're thinking back about, okay, well, those times in our entrepreneurial progression, what were those times when we felt like our results and our progress and our success really accelerated and did take a doubling or a tripling or even more so in the kind of results that we were getting, productivity or money we were making or the amount of things we were getting done. And then to kind of think about, okay, well, what was it in those instances that helped trigger that acceleration of success? And so thinking back over that specifically, we came up with 5 different ways that, just by taking any one of these 5, you don't have to take them all 5 at once to get results, but taking any one of these 5 and applying it to your business right now, you will definitely see your results accelerate and increase very quickly. Let's go ahead and start with number 1, and that is to take immediate action. It's probably no surprise to anybody who's listened to the show is that we are all about taking action, taking bold action, acting quickly, all those different ways that we say that we enjoy, talking about putting things into effect in your business and in your life. And there's one interesting kind of insight that I recently had for myself thinking about this. There was a blog post that I was reading a couple weeks ago, and it definitely struck me. It was talking about how different people make decisions, and certainly making a decision is part of taking action, because every action, starts first of all usually with a decision of which action are you going to take, because often you have multiple possibilities ahead of you, and it can be kind of overwhelming and a little bit, frees you up to wonder like, well, which avenue would be best? Have I searched them all out adequately? Do I know enough to be able to put this particular action, this particular path into action? And what if that ends up being the wrong one? And, those are understandable thoughts, because I think I, definitely on a regular basis can fall into that trap as well. Well, there's this blog post I was reading was talking about decision making and how there's 2 different types of decision makers. And that is, the first type is the maximizer, and then the second type is what we call a satisficer. So the maximizer is definitely the kind of decision maker that I tend to be. And I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this on the show, but I think it merits talking about again here. The best example I can think of is, for instance, and you know this well, Sterling, having eaten out with me several times before, when we go to a restaurant, I'm the type that I like to look over everything on the menu and make sure, by process of elimination, narrow it down and make sure I'm getting the one best option out of everything possible on the menu, even to the point that, what is it that I always ask the server, Sterling?
Like, what's the best thing you have, or what do you like most?
Yeah, I'll ask them, like, what do you suggest, or what's popular, and questions like that. So it's like I'm trying to collect all this data and make sure that I have it available to me. And, that's how I tend to make decisions. The satisficer is the kind of person that sets parameters of what they want. They start looking at options, but the moment they find an option that fits just the 2 or 3 most important criteria, they just go ahead and go with that. Even if there might be another one that could be equally as good or even possibly arguably better, it doesn't matter. They're just going to go ahead and as soon as they find one that fits the most important criteria, they're going to go, okay, that's it. I'm satisfied. We're going to go with this option right here. And researchers have kind of studied this out in terms of a progress, growth, and happiness perspective, and found that satisficers tend to, be a little happier with the decisions that they make. And often that's because, maximizers, there's this false sense of this idea that there really is one best decision, and all that extra effort that goes into choosing that one best option and looking at every potential, because there's always, potentially one more option that you haven't looked at. I mean, really, if you think about it, there's a million different possibilities for every decision. So maximizers really are kind of grinding metal, so to speak, when they go into that maximizing mode. And this is something I've really been working on, even to the point that when I go to eat out now, I try to go, and I sit down and go, okay, I'm going to pick up this menu and go with the first thing that sounds good to me, to kind of start training my brain to think more that way. Another trend that just keeps coming up over and over again as I've been thinking about this, is, I was listening to an Eben Pagan thing and then to a Dan Kennedy thing, and I was reading in Ready, Fire, Aim, and it just keeps popping up, probably because I've had this whole maximizer, satisficer thing on my mind. But this phrase of these very successful people saying, look, the most successful people are the ones that learn to implement fast. The moment they learn something or come up with a new idea, the ones that get it put into action as quickly as possible without thinking about it too much, those are the people that achieve the most success.
Yeah, it's funny. I have a friend here in town that I was telling him about the fact that I was kind of playing around with niche sites and niche marketing right now. And he was instant like, oh, which course should I get? Let's do this. This will be fun. Like, he's a fast business actor, and, he's got a little team in place too. So he'll go figure it out and go, okay, team, do it. Go do this. And, I'm like that too as well. But, it's nice to have people around to do that with. And it's funny to notice, what type of success and he has based on his speed. So, yeah, that definitely is something that I see. And it took a while to implement, because most of the time I think I would stay in I must learn every possible thing about this before I even take one step. Right. And now, taking action even can mean getting started with education. But the way I absolutely do education now is, I make sure that I take action during the education. So, when I'm learning something new, the first time it says, okay, so now I've told you the background, here's step one, I just go do it. I don't wait to know the whole process. Most of the time I don't try and, listen to the whole thing first. I'm just like, look, I'm going to take action as we're going.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I mean, it comes down to this, in terms of just thinking about building wealth and freedom and fulfillment. Well, wealthy people, they get started. Yeah. They take action. And doing something and messing it up always beats doing nothing and waiting and thinking that there's a better option around the corner. All right, so idea number one is take immediate action. Get fast at implementing. The moment you learn something, the moment an idea comes up, see how quickly you can put that thing into action. Number two thing is consistency. It's all about developing habits when it comes to success. It's all about doing things over and over again in a consistent manner, because that's where results really start snowballing and picking up. That's where you get a momentum. That's where your confidence starts building. That's where things you really start working and the ideas really start churning, is when you can be consistent, whether it's consistent at your content creation on your site to attract traffic, whether it's consistently working on your business on a regular basis, daily. I mean, I would encourage people, 5 days a week, even if you're working full time, even if it's just for 30 minutes in a day, to find that time to sit down and make it a habit every day at a specific time in the evening or in the morning or whatever it may be, because that's where a habit really starts forming. I finally got myself to start sticking to a workout schedule. And it's something I'm always struggling with for whatever reason. Like, just that idea of getting myself up and going downstairs to the gym downstairs in the building and getting on the treadmill or on the elliptical or whatever the case may be. And I realized that one of the things that the parts of friction that I kept hitting is when I would start out, I'd go, okay, well, maybe I'll just start out nice and easy. I'll just do 3 times a week. But then there was always this thing in the morning of like, okay, well, is it today or isn't it today? Or maybe I'll do it tomorrow, or, And what finally got me to stick to a workout schedule was just doing it every morning. Just getting up and just going and doing it every morning. That consistency got me momentum. There was no question of whether or not I was going to work out today. There was no question of, it's just, okay, let's go and do 30 minutes of workout right now. And, so people, when they are forming a new habit, often they're thinking about getting results. And so they're like, okay, well, I got to make sure I'm doing, and that would hold me back as well. I would be thinking about, okay, well, am I doing the right kind of workout in order to really start building muscle and losing weight? Is my heart rate at the right amount in order to burn fat? And really, I found that when I said, okay, you know what? At first, I'm just going for consistency. I'm not worrying about what results I get out of this workout. I'm just, the fact that I get out the door and get downstairs with my gym shoes on and step onto that elliptical, that counts. And for the first month or two, that's all it's about. It's just getting out the door and doing it. So I build up that momentum. Then I can start analyzing bit by bit. Okay, is my heart rate right? And add on to that. But consistency is extremely important. All right, point number 3 is focus. This is definitely a challenge that I've had many, many times. Every new entrepreneur has this challenge. In fact, every entrepreneur, period, new or experienced, has this challenge, because the people that are attracted to being entrepreneurs or starting their own business like to learn new things. They like to try new things. They're often thinking about the future. They often get bored. They might have a little bit of ADD. And so it's the tendency to, start dabbling in a little something, get excited about it, and then go, okay, next, and move on to the next thing before you really start seeing results. But let's go ahead and speak specifically right now to kind of the newer side, like, somebody who's just starting out as an entrepreneur. When I think back to when I was starting out, it was all about, the way I thought about it, and it seemed logical. And so many things about business really are counterintuitive when it comes to success. What seemed logical was, well, let me just start up as many different ideas as I can, throw as many things against the wall, and we'll just see what sticks. And you hear things like, well, 8 out of 10 businesses fail within the first however many years. And so it's like, well, okay, I'll start 10 businesses, and then at least 1 or 2 of them is sure to succeed because I'll be playing the odds, right? But the actual truth is that just doesn't work that way. In the end, consistency and action are great, but if it's not focused, then you're not going to see the results either. And so early on, I would end up going down 5 different routes. I'd have this little thing I was, trying with, maybe an MLM and trying some real estate investing and then this other shiny idea came by. And, for a period of time, trying different things out is okay because I'm kind of learning about, okay, what fulfills me? What are the possibilities? But at some point, you have to put a cap on that and go, okay, which of these things am I going to stick to? Which of these things am I going to make work? And it's, definitely the same with internet business. You might have 10 niche ideas and they might all be great ideas. But yeah, it wasn't until I would take that opportunity to stop and go, okay, which one of these am I going to focus on until I get X results out of it before I start thinking about anything else, that I really started seeing that progress accelerate. Succeeding as an entrepreneur is about recognizing opportunity cost and how many opportunities you say no to more than how many you say yes to. And that's how it really works. So you have to focus.
Yeah, and I'd also say that you need to focus while you're working on things too. For example, turn off the TV while you're trying to work. Get some alone time where you're not interrupted at all, and during that time you've allotted to being consistent, as we talked about before. If it's 30 minutes, you need to get away from everything. Now, it's so weird how, especially the way the culture is now, everything's very, very multitasking. And I've had to actually reteach my kids because, especially my older daughter who's 14 right now, I had to reteach her because, she was saying that she's reading this book for school and she's just not getting it. And that's not how she is. She's usually really quick with comprehension on books and this kind of thing. And she's like, I don't like it because I'm not getting it. And so we started talking about it. And I said, okay, we'll go up and read and I'll kind of see what's going on. Because I had a feeling, because of texting and everything else, that, I had a feeling it was a multitasking issue. And so I went up and watched, and she was talking to a friend on Facebook with her music on and texting, all while trying to read a book where you have to focus.
Right.
And that just made me go, wow, I'm like trying to explain to her, you need to turn all of this off. I was watching her and she's reading. She just finished texting and typing. So she's actually looking at the book again and she's mouthing the words to the song that she's listening to. And I'm like, how in the world are you going to have any comprehension on something with all that going on? So that's something to consider too. I just wanted to add that to this focus section, that while you're being consistent and taking your action, you need to actually focus on what you're doing. I've also watched my sister who has been doing some niche stuff with me. And she's also the same way, and she has a baby too, so we had to talk about her only doing the work when the baby was either napping or down to bed, because she won't keep her eyes on the screen for more than, maybe 30 seconds, and then boom, she's looking at her baby or doing other things, or she's the same way. And I'm thinking, there's just no way you're going to progress if you can't have not only the focus that we were just talking about on one particular thing when you start, but also the focus on doing that one thing as you're actually taking that action.
That's an excellent point. It definitely makes a huge difference. There's that multitasking myth that we all fall into. And, anybody who's read 4-hour work week and stuff like that, there's a lot of information coming out these days about how, it doesn't work that way. I have a feeling that I'm going to be, I feel pretty good about my focus and productivity, but I know, you mentioning your sister and her baby, that, as I mentioned, we have a baby on the way. I have a feeling I'm going to have to take this to a whole new level when I am going to be blocking out, Just like somebody working the 9 to 5 and has a family and stuff. I mean, I'm going to have to block out, okay, here's this hour while the baby's napping or whatever. What am I going to get done? And I really got to focus and get it done in that time. So, that's a good reminder for me. I can see that coming on the horizon for sure.
Yeah, I was lucky. I as far as this goes, because I can't have anything else going on when I'm working just naturally. So, I mean, even that's why there are times when I have to turn off Skype even, which is kind of the only interrupter, because I put my phone on vibrate when I'm working, and I try and get as much done as possible. But even Skype, even if I'm not going to answer it and I see, that little thing pop up, saying, so somebody's talking to you, I'm going, I need to think of it, I need to go see what it is. And I have to just turn it off to get working. There's no way I could have music, texting. I can't even imagine what, the kids can do now with that stuff. Or what they're not actually getting because of multitasking, really.
Oh, I'm sorry, you done? I was finishing a text up to my wife.
Oh, nice.
Telling her to,
I need to talk for at least 30 more seconds while you finish your multitasking.
I'm like, okay, Sterling's talking time to text my wife. Just kidding. All right, so we've gone through 3, take immediate action, consistency, focus, and now number 4 is track progress. And actually, I think I threw this one in right before we started recording, so I don't even know if you saw this one there before we started there, Sterling. So I'm springing this one on you as a surprise.
Nice.
But it occurred to me, I think in the shower this morning, I'm like, oh, we definitely got to talk about that as well, because it has been, for sure, when we decide on a specific goal, and for instance, I know a few years ago, we finally decided, okay, every week there's certain stats we're going to track in our business. Like we have to be seeing like how many opt-ins are coming in, what are the sales looking like every week, and different things like that. So when we know that we're working on a new traffic thing, we see like, is it working? Is it not working? Is something dipping? It's the same thing with my exercise. I immediately, when I'm trying a new exercise regimen and I'm trying to get myself all consistent and focused and motivated, I start some kind of spreadsheet or system for tracking. Okay, well, how many minutes and did I do it today? And, just the fact of just spending those few minutes every day looking at what it is that you've done. And it doesn't have to be every single thing in your life, but whatever it is that you're just working on and focusing on making a habit out of growing or improving right now. We don't have to think about those, business stats. Now it's just something that just happens as part of our system. But, for instance, right now, I know we're both working on, we both wanted to get more activity in our life. So what did we do? We both bought pedometers and immediately started tracking how many steps we were walking in a day. So when you've got that kind of a feedback loop going, where you can see meaningful numbers or meaningful figures that reflect some kind of action or thing that you're working on to improve, that it completes that loop in our brain that we really need, and whatever you track will then improve. So it's a very important part of this whole process. So come up with some system that works for you, whatever it is, for tracking that progress on a regular basis.
Yeah, I would say even if it's just showing your progress, like, for example, I've been, going through a couple of new products out there for a completely different type of internet business. And even just seeing that, and I'm not even, some days I'm actually just doing maybe 30 minutes or so. And as I'm going through my mind map, filling in the information and all the knowledge that I'm getting, even just seeing that, I started at step 2, now I'm at step 5. I got through all of that, just even being able to see that. So the next day I go, okay, even if I can just get through one step today because I don't have as much time, I'm seeing that progress, and it's kind of another type of tracking. And it reminded me of, once I started tracking, like with my weight too, and trying to lose weight and stuff, and using the whole pedometer thing. I got this pedometer that actually uploads its information to a website, so I can even see, all throughout the day. I'm, like right now I'm at actually 4,200 steps just because I went on a bike ride. So I have to minus out some of that for a bike ride. But, I can track all that. And I go to a site called loseit.com. I'm down 11 pounds since I started tracking, just from tracking. And it's funny because when you track, you also can, it kind of, for me, it brings out a little bit of a challenge. Like, for instance, with the pedometer thing, it's saying that if you do 10,000 steps a day, even that alone is going to help with your health. So when I see that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got to get 10,000. And then the great thing about the website that I go to that does that is that they give you badges if you go higher. So you get this little badge going, I got to 15,000 steps, so I get a special badge, right? And somehow, psychologically, I still fall for that stuff, even though I teach how that works and psychologically and all that stuff. But, being able to see that, and if, today, let's say I only get 6,000 steps, because I'm tracking it, I go, oh, okay, I'm down. So tomorrow I'll try and go to 14,000 so that it evens out the 10,000 day. So it's one of those things where you can definitely use that tracking to your advantage, even with your internet business going, oh, I didn't get as much time today as I wanted to, so maybe I'll make it up Sunday afternoon or something like that. And that stuff starts occurring to you really fast when you are seeing the results.
So there you go. Some good examples. Number 4 is to track your progress. And now that brings us to the 5th and final one, which is actually very appropriate since we're just coming off of 2 episodes all about this. We've already touched on it a lot, but again, it merits mentioning again here because it is one of those key things that has always accelerated our success, and that is to find a coach or mentor. As we think back about all the times where we've, hired somebody to be a coach or mentor, or, through some other means been able to find somebody to guide, somebody who's already where we want to be that can guide us to that point, having that guidance, having that person to keep us accountable, having that person to boost our confidence, to help us maybe get rid of, going back to that maximizer or satisficer thing, maybe help us quickly eliminate and just peg the exact right decision very quickly without having to go and look at a bunch of different options, has always been something that, when that is in place, your success will definitely accelerate. So that needed to be added in here as well.
By 3 times.
By 3 times, not 2 times, not 4 times, by 3 times exactly. So there you go. 5 ways to triple or more your business results fast. Just choosing any one of these that you can focus on right now is going to really help in whatever point in your business, whether you're just starting out or you're more experienced. Number 1 is take immediate action. Number 2 is consistency. Number 3 is focus. Number 4, track your progress. And number 5, find a coach or mentor. All right, this breakthrough comes from Academy member Diana Estrada, who wrote the following in the Academy forums. She says, "This is a big breakthrough. I started my online business a few weeks ago, and building content has been a headache. It was getting out of my hands. Only after finding my niche inside of my niche, getting laser focused within my niche, did I clear my mind and start producing content. Thank you, Sterling and Jay, for putting everything together this way. What would I do without your system?" So thank you, Diana, for sending that in. And I went ahead and emailed her because I thought that was just a really cool, breakthrough. Because I know a lot of people can kind of get stuck in that part where they think they've got a good niche, but then it's still, not quite working out. They're having a hard time knowing, beginners or more advanced, or they feel still pulled in different directions. And going back to what we said earlier, this episode about focus, this is, very on topic as well. So I asked her, I said, okay, well, what helped you narrow it down to getting, that niche within a niche? And she said, well, the first thing was, fulfillment and following your process that you describe and outline in the Academy for really focusing in on what fulfills you most. But then she pointed out a couple other really good things. Because she was going towards the Spanish and English market. She said, I started out wanting to teach both Spanish and English, which was just a big mistake. And she addressed that very early on in the process. Then she said, I wanted to teach English. So she focused in on English, but she wanted to teach English to everybody. She said, that was my next mistake. It was still not, well defined enough. So then she said, well, then I wanted to teach English to Spanish speakers worldwide. And that was still tough because there's so many different types of Spanish speakers worldwide. So it was still, she found herself going in too many directions. So then she said, I finally defined the people I really wanted to work with most, which is, again, one of those things that we recommend in the Academy. She said, I realized that I wanted to help people like me, people for whom learning English was both a passion and a necessity, people who needed to speak good English to improve their businesses or their careers or their personal life, and people who have been frustrated, just like I was, because they have learned to speak English with the Spanish sounds and don't know how to reproduce the English sounds and phonetics. So she said, once I defined my audience, I knew what I had to do. I'm teaching how to speak English, not to read, not to write, just how to speak good English with English phonetics. And to, as she said, to Spanish speakers who have that, real frustration and a need, not only a desire, but that need. That kind of goes into that urgent pain. Certainly if you've got a business or you're going to school or you're in the career field or something where you feel like you need to improve your English for that, then those people are going to be definitely motivated to spend money for your product. So that's an awesome process. Thank you for sharing that with us, Diana. I think a lot of people can learn by hearing your, what you kind of went through in that process you used. And anybody who wants to check out her site, it's hablabieningles.com. So that's, of course, kind of Spanishy there, since that's her target market. So that's really, I think, actually some good keywords in there. But hablabieningles.com, we'll have that link in the show notes if you want to check that out.
Yeah, and how many times have we heard somebody just say everybody as who they want to be their customers?
I want to teach English to who? Everybody.
It's just everybody who doesn't speak English already, and you're just like, oh, painful.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's awesome to watch the process of laser focus. And remember, there's a live question and answer call each month for coaching members where you can ask us anything about starting and running your internet business. Not a coaching member yet? No problem. Just visit internetbusinessmastery.com/coaching to get the latest information about our coaching program.
It's time for the Internet Business Quick Tip.
So recently we've been talking a lot about coaches and mentors, and it just so happens that our quick tip relates to one of our most recent coaches, and that is Dan Sullivan of Strategic Coach, a program that we signed up for a full year last year and got a lot of good stuff out of. We travel even to Chicago 4 times during the year to have that day-long session of coaching, masterminding, learning some new skills, and definitely accelerated our success last year, I'd say. Wouldn't you say so, Sterling?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It was awesome. A lot of money well spent.
Yeah, and it was, we added it up. It was thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars we spent on that. But the quick tip is a way that you can kind of tap into some of that Dan Sullivan Strategic Coach brilliance at a small fraction of the price, continuing with our Summer of Success book series. It's actually 2 books that go side by side by Dan Sullivan that you should be able to find on Amazon or elsewhere. It's How the Best Get Better, number 1 and number 2. It comes in 2 parts, and basically, they're really easy to read. They've got lots of great diagrams in there, and they're just kind of like a rapid fire summary of all of, in his 20 plus or 30 actually plus years of experience of being an entrepreneur and training entrepreneurs, of his, most significant success principles that entrepreneurs should know and apply. So definitely worth a read, worth going back and referencing now and again. I was looking at them yesterday just to kind of refresh and going, yeah, wow, some really good stuff in there. So it's How the Best Get Better, numbers 1 and 2 by Dan Sullivan is our quick tip for this episode.
If you'd like to get dozens of resources such as this one, you can find them in the Internet Business Mastery Academy, along with video tutorials showing you exactly how we use many of them. So to get your risk-free trial membership to the Academy, go to internetbusinessmasteryacademy.com.
You've been listening to the iconoclasts of the 9 to 5 Sterling and Jay. Sterling and Jay invite you to discover one of their most popular video programs ever, the Online Business Freedom Formula. Visit freevideogift.com right now to get instant access to this life-changing video series, pulled directly from the acclaimed Internet Business Mastery Academy membership community. Go now to freevideogift.com. Take control. Make more money. Start an internet business today.